Hello, my name is Carline and I'm one of the directors of Green Dogs Conservation. Green Dogs Conservation is a non-profit organization in South Africa that focuses on the training of highly specialized domestic dogs for finding biological samples. Here you have to think about, for example, the scats of animals, which are the droppings, or they can find a lot of other different biological samples. We mainly train them on scats of endangered and vulnerable species, like, for example, wild dogs or lions. This is a quite new survey method in South Africa. It's been used for decades in, for example, the States, but in South Africa it's very new. But it's a very good method because it's very non-invasive. You get a lot of information from these scats about the animals without disturbing the animals or having a direct impact on the animals. The scats will give us information about, for example, their diet, hormone levels, and most importantly, it helps us to distinguish between different individuals. So this is very important because these are very endangered and vulnerable species, and we don't want to have a big impact on these. So the next movie you're going to see is where I'm busy in the field with a dog to look for cheetah scats. That's the way how we do it. It's a very good example. And the dog helps us to find the scats, and then we collect the scats and send them off to a laboratory for further analysis.
It's the 17th of October and we're just filming Astro. Here he's having his harness put on, which is his cue that he's about to start working. It's about 2:30 and it's quite warm, but it rained last night.
Astro, come.
Now he's already starting to sniff around. We'll come back in just a moment. Yeah. Okay. Astro just found he's found the target, and now he's pointing to it with his nose to demonstrate to Carline exactly where it is. Now he knows that he's pointed it out to her, and now he's waiting for his ball reward.
Good boy. Here you go.
This is what he works for. This is his paycheck. It doesn't matter what the dog prefers to use, whether it's a ball or a tugger. Astro, we found, actually he likes a ball that he can be tugged. He bites quite hard, so we were going through tennis balls at a fair old rate. So this is what he works for. Is for this. Is to be able to play with this ball. So the way they play is very enthusiastic. It's very physical and very hands-on. It's not an obedience exercise for the dog. We're not looking for the dogs to feel confined or inhibited by having any set of rules. There are no rules with the play. They get to play as much as they want. Now the reluctance to let go is actually just a sign that he's very possessive over it, which is actually fine as well. It's something the out comes. He'll get that very quickly. If he doesn't want to do it, then it can be replaced with a food reward. But at the moment, because he's still so novice, we like to foster this possessiveness because that helps with building drive. Now, what happened there was where he was sniffing a lump that is actually we know is frequently marked by jackals moving through the area. So there was no reward or interest in that. Carline just sent him straight on again. So there's no punishment for looking at or being interested in other things. They just get sent on and are told that they aren't going to be rewarded for it. So here he's moving along. He's crisscrossing and searching the area quite effectively. Which is particularly important that they know how to quarter when they're working in areas with quite thick bush. Otherwise, they might miss scent that's getting pooled in the vegetation. So, looks like he's just checking with Carline, and now he's going back out. Then send out again. a little bit late in the day, and now his tongue is lolling. So he's not too hot yet, but he's already at the point where he's not going to be sniffing that efficiently. But he's still continuing to work, which is great. So here, Astor is just wetting his mouth again before being sent out again. It's important to keep their mouths wet so that they can keep smelling. If their mouth dries out too much, then they don't have the same capability to smell. So he's having to work very hard because it is warm, and there's little to no breeze here at all at the moment. Ideal scenting conditions are cool, damp, and with a light to moderate breeze. But working in the bushveld, we very, very rarely get ideal conditions. So we don't train under ideal conditions, and we don't, because the dog is not going to have to work under ideal conditions. Yeah, he's keeping moving, and as you can see, the dog covers a significantly larger area than the handler, or larger distance, as well as the area. The actual area that the dog is covering is, he's working scent here. There he goes, I went straight to it. So what we do is a refind, and then we ask to show where it is. Good, there. So he points out to exactly where it is. So now you can see the focus on his face, that he's waiting for it. He knows he's earned his reward, and he just can't wait for it to be thrown.
Good boy.
The added advantage, if you do have a dog that's happy to tug as well, is that if you're working in very sensitive areas, it's easier to tug without having to throw the ball a lot, and there's less risk of upsetting wildlife or anything like that. But see, there's no work involved in this for the dog. It's all play. It's all playing a giant game, and that's why we don't involve much obedience training in it, because it does tend to inhibit them a little bit, and they don't have the same kind of wild gay abandon that they have. I mean, this is just for him the most fun possible. No rules, just plenty of fun. It's the simplest game in the world, but that's what makes it so effective. We have found that dogs that have too much obedience training generally are not as effective, and they rely on their handler much more. And if the handler knew what they were doing and could find the scats without the dog, there would be no need to have the dog. Okay, so the ball is put away here when the dog still really, really wants it, and that just helps keep his motivation to have it up even more. So there he goes. We use the water also to refocus the dog and say, right, we're moving on to the next one. So so there he is. He's heading off to find his next target.